So I started with a domain, found something that resonated, fractionalsunited.com resonated, bought it, put up a free Slack, simple landing page, messaged a bunch of communities, put it on LinkedIn. Is this something you would be interested in? I had no idea. I'm like, maybe I'm the only one, right? By the end of that first weekend, there were 50 people, and it was a hockey stick for 2 years. We went from 50 members at the end of that first weekend to 15,100 members 2 years later.
This is Breaking Through the Noise, practical strategies from emerging thought leaders who've actually broken through the noise on their terms. I'm your host, Catherine Jelinek. Let's get real and let's get into it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. It is my pleasure to introduce Karina Mikhli. She is the founder of Fractionals United, a community for all senior leaders that are current or aspiring fractionals. Welcome, Karina. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So going straight into it, what sparked the creation of Fractionals United? Where did your why come from for this?
So I have been doing fractional work before it was called fractional. It was just part-time, whatever. I had gone full-time with one of my clients, and then in the beginning of January 2023, we parted ways because, as often happens, once I put the people and systems in place, they didn't need me anymore and I was too expensive. So I came back to the fractional world looking for work, and it was very, very different than what it had been 2 years prior, which is the last time I looked for more work. On the one hand,
And what year was that?
2023, early 2023.
Not so long ago.
So on the one hand, it had become more popular. People were talking about it, more people knew about it. But on the other hand, it felt lonelier and harder, which I now know why, but I didn't then. All I knew was like, I'm an introvert. I don't want to figure this out on my own. This is hard. Where are my people? So literally, I had that idea January 7th. I was Googling like mad that evening, trying to find a community of fractionals because I had joined some really wonderful operations communities during COVID. And I knew the power of online communities for support, for collaboration, for learning, etc. I couldn't quite find what I was looking for. I found what I call like pseudo communities, meaning communities that are a pipeline for something else, not a community for the sake of community, which was what I wanted. So since I'm not cut out to sit in just job search, like I need to be doing something, I was like, maybe this is the thing I do. Maybe there's interest. So I started with a domain, found something that resonated, fractionalsunited.com resonated, bought it, put up a free Slack, simple landing page, messaged, a bunch of communities, put it on LinkedIn. People, just an MVP, literally like, is this something you would be interested in? I had no idea. Like, I'm like, maybe I'm the only one, right? By the end of that first weekend, there were 50 people. Everyone was like, yes, please, yes, please, yes, please. And it was a hockey stick for 2 years.
2 years. That's a long time to sustain a hockey stick.
Yeah, we went from 50 members at the end of that first weekend to 15,100 members 2 years later.
That's insane.
I know.
That's remarkable. Congratulations. That's like a very serious level of community for an introvert to run, by the way.
There are many a day I'm like, why did I do this to myself? But the pros outweigh the cons, and luckily it is online, so I can hide. I can unplug. I can just, do my own thing. I did nearly burn out a couple of times in the beginning. You just learn.
So, and obviously that's it went from, 50 in that first weekend to 15,100 in 2 years. What did that? Like, I know that there was so much of you meeting your own need, but your need was resonating because there was so much of that happening at that time. And then also what? I mean, I feel like a big thing I hear though is you're remaining authentic to community rather than it being some sales into something else.
Yeah.
And that's so rare. But in your words, like, what do you think? What was the big break? Like, what happened?
So I think it was a combination of things. Obviously, if I couldn't find that community, neither could others, right? And I wasn't the only one looking for it. It is really hard for fractionals to find work. There's so many people out of work, hearing about fractional, considering it, don't know if it's for them, not for them, which is why I always made it about current and aspiring, and I worked really hard to keep it free. Like, the reason that hockey sticks stopped after 2+ years is because I had to monetize, and it's still very affordable, but I hadn't paid myself a cent in 2 years, and I was paying for
Yes.
my staff and resources, and I had to do that just to so that I didn't start resenting this and, etc. But
Hmm.
like, I made it accessible, I made it easy to join, easy to refer, and it's in Slack, where, like, I know there are some who hate Slack, but for those of us who, like, most people are in Slack anyhow for work, right?
Yeah.
So the barrier to entry, like, I just try to make it as frictionless as possible.
Hmm.
I made it very in the beginning, I studied and talked to community managers to try to absorb as much as I could.
Oh, that's great. Did any of that help?
Oh,
Was any of
yeah.
it useful?
Oh,
Good.
100%. And I talked to the communities I appreciated, the ops communities I had joined and loved, to try to learn what to do or not to do. And, they told me that in the beginning, you have to kind of feed it, you tag it, you show up every day, and you, like, have the conversations and make it valuable. And eventually it's like, your child walking without you, right? Like,
Hmm.
people, you have to give people a reason to show up, and then they will show up on their own. And that happened. And to your
How long
point,
did that take? Because I feel like since you had so many people, I can imagine it didn't take that long where you weren't having to like seed in a good question or conversation starter every day.
I
Like
think
how
it
long
took
were
a
you?
couple of weeks.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's not that long. A couple weeks, says the lady who blew up a community in 2 years.
Forever that
Weeks and years can really be weird things. You're so right.
when you're trying to figure stuff out and you have to keep doing it day in, day after out, a couple, like, by a couple, I don't literally mean two. It was probably a month or two, I would say. You know what I mean? I don't honestly remember. I should have in hindsight, there's a lot of things I should have tracked, but, like, I was just so focused on trying to build it, right? And figure stuff out. So I'm always I think another thing that helped is I was really focused on adding, like, every year I do a one thing. I don't do like 310 KPIs and make it complicated.
Yes.
I'm very, very much about focus and simplicity.
Hmm.
So for the first year, my focus was on growth. So everything had to be aligned to that, right? Like, everything had to make it easy to join, easy to refer, easy to just be there, right? And get value. The next year, it was about sustaining and adding value. Like, the next, when we last spoke, I hadn't come up with a one thing yet for
Yeah.
2026. It's optimize. We
Okay.
have the foundation. Now I want to simplify, streamline, optimize. But
I
it
have one
every
for my business too because of that conversation.
Oh,
Yes.
yay!
Yes.
Awesome.
The like one rallying cry
Yes,
only. Like
yes,
so good.
yes. And everything has to be aligned. My teams, I ask them to come up with one things that align with the overall one thing, and it's a really easy litmus test, because, like, the new shiny, is it aligned?
Mm,
Nope. Sorry. Moving on.
good. Good.
And I want people to feel like this is a place, like, this is your people. So everything has to be, like you said, true community. It's about connecting, collaborating, and learning from each other. It's not a marketplace. I don't allow, now I actually do have some experts in there, but I didn't have that for, like, the longest time. And they are very um, specific, clear rules on what they can and cannot. And even members, we have one channel for promotion, and we heavily moderate. You're not allowed to spam. You're not allowed to promote. You're not, like, yes, it's loud and loud because it's large and engaged, and some people are still overwhelmed. But every channel has a purpose. So you can decide which ones to mute and which ones to engage in.
Yes. You know, what really strikes me is like, fine, you have a few different channels, more than a few, but
Yes.
it's one thing. Like your community is on Slack, you
Yep.
know, like
Yep.
what you've done is keep it thorough even if each year you're not, you're changing your focus, but there's such deep simplicity and underscoring real community, which I think is like I just kind of said, quite rare these days. Yes. And then also, as you had that, needing to monetize, can be challenging, right?
Yeah.
It's important, like a person like you who's actually very invested, knows the difference. Like this is why you created it, because you wanted it for yourself. You're keeping that pure, but the fact that you eventually do need to monetize, because it does take resources and time and energy and the time that you could be spending, doing some other fractional job that would pay a lot more.
Yep.
But yeah, the challenge of keeping it pure during those shifts, right?
Yeah. And it's funny. It's like, I've been COO, and I know that the CEO is supposed to be like the vision bearer, right? And I've never quite understood it. But it's kind of like I intuitively know why I did this. And like my team is wonderful and everyone gets it. But I feel what I want this to be, right? I feel, and I'm always thinking about it, and it's very easy for me to say yes or no to things. Like occasionally I'll have to think about it, right? But like I know what's aligned, and I'm not going to consider like there have been opportunities that maybe would bring money to me in the community, but they would have taken away from what it is. And I was like, no, not interested.
You're very committed and decisive.
Yeah, I don't do analysis paralysis.
That's so good. That's great, because a lot of us struggle with certain things like that. Do you struggle with shiny object syndrome though? Because maybe traditionally you might not. Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't think I would, because I'm generally the integrator COO. So I'm not the typical visionary. But in some small ways, I do occasionally, like with tools. I have to stop myself from trying every new tool and every automation. I'm like, oh, stop.
That's almost like so cute, because you're such an operator, in that way. It's like tools, automation things. That's lovely. Okay, so where can people find you? Where can people find the community if they're interested or hear about it, want to refer it to someone they know?
So fractionalsunited.com. It's a simple landing page, but it has all the information about the community. I'm on LinkedIn, and also KarinaMikhli.com. And yeah, keep it simple.
Excellent. And then last thing is like the last reflection and advice, those who are looking to break through, to reach the audience they want to reach, or even those who might be similar to you and want to build a community. Last advice for them.
Community is like no other business. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It's been phenomenal in some ways and really hard in other ways. Be sure, like being a founder is hard enough. And being a community founder to some degree means you kind of have like all the members, or many of the members, think they have a say, and you will get people suggesting things not always in the best interest of the community. So you need to find a balance, and you need to be willing to find that balance and, do the thing that is needed for the community, and let members feel heard, right? So I explain things. I'm very transparent about things. But if you're an introvert, it is going to be hard, even though it's online, because you deal with people, and people sometimes do this craziest things where you're like, what, how, why? There will always be edge cases. People are messy, people are irrational, people are wonderful. This is the one thing AI will never take over, people. And all our messy gloriness is what you're getting yourself into. So be ready. Know that this is what you're doing, and be willing. I'm sorry. I know.
Said. No, it's good. It's good. Fair warning. Make sure if you want it, you really gotta listen. It's true. You have thousands and thousands of them. It's not like, oh, a 100% community, which is still pretty solid. It's like, 15,100.
Here's
It's a
here's
lot of
just a
messy
small
gloriness.
here's just a small example of something that, a member did a long time ago. And I still like every time I think about it, I'm like, so back to me saying it was very like I tried to make it simple to refer people. So we have a Slack channel called Please Invite, where it's very simple. You want to refer someone, you just go there, you give us name, email, and LinkedIn profile. And there's automation behind it where my team can like do one emoji that auto invites them and another that sends a message to the person who referred them that sorry, they're not a good fit. We had that going on for like almost a year and a half before a member decided that it was okay to use that channel to reach out to everyone on LinkedIn. And he included people that did not get into the community. So someone who didn't make it in reached out to their friend, like, how does this person, like, I'm not in the community. Why is this person reaching out to me? How did they get my email? And I was like, oh my gosh. So then I had to adjust the automation that once my team member reviews and either auto, accepts or rejects, it deletes the information. So then no one else can go trolling through that channel.
Ah, that's brutal.
Yeah. I still don't understand how someone would have thought that was okay and wouldn't have like thought that maybe like someone who was rejected don't use this method.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lots of human learnings.
Tough.
Yeah. Not for the faint of heart, but
Nope.
But hockey stick possible when you're hitting the right people, right time, right need.
Yeah. And just keep it simple. Keep it aligned with one thing. And if it's working, double down on it. Don't try to do everything for everyone. Just double down on what's working.
100%. And I love that not doing everything for everyone got you as like 15,100 people. Oops. Okay, well, Karina, this is a delight, and you knock my socks off, and I'm very impressed, and I know that everyone listening will be as well. Thank you for listening today. Thank you, Karina.
Thank you for having me.
You heard where to find her and Fractionals United. And then till next time, everybody. Thank you for listening to Breaking Through the Noise. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And drop a comment on topics you want to hear about in future episodes. We'd love to hear that. Thanks again for tuning in. Till next time.